Do you guys remember how we started?
Yes, vaguely, but I remember the need before the how. I know we talked about like there just not being a Christian presence, and like you came from a Christian background, I came from a Christian background. I remember we were in your room,
Yeah.
and we spoke,
Yes.
and we were like just having this conversation, and that's where the idea came with. But I don't necessarily remember.
All I remember, from my recollection, we had our first Bible study. And I think that entire semester we didn't have a name. We just had Bible study.
Yeah.
We had Bible study, and over the winter break, me and Jairus was like texting back and forth trying to come up with like a name for our group. It was a whole bunch of stupid names. And I think I have like a paper somewhere still with a whole bunch of list of names and everything.
Oh, wow.
I still have the old
And-
flyers too.
Really?
Yes, I have.
Let me see that.
I don't
Yeah,
want
no,
to
I
see
keep
it.
everything.
I don't want to see it, but I
It was
remember
terrible. It was black and white.
when we came.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't want to see
right.
it because if anybody, it had to be me that made it.
Didn't you have the paper color?
Yes.
Oh yeah, we had to
were on
pay
a
for
budget,
color,
okay?
to print out color paper. But I remember when we came back the following semester, I remember sitting in Jairus' room, on the far end of Southwest 1, and I was sitting on his bed, and I think he was at his desk. I feel like you were in the room, but I don't remember.
I wasn't there for the conception of the name, but I know that all I remember is that you said somebody had a book that said HELP on it, and then I believe you came up with the acronym.
Remember, you guys remember Malia Knight?
Yeah.
Yes.
Malia walked in the room with this big book, and when she walked in, I was like, "What kind of book is that?" It's like a huge Bible. She was like, "It's an art book, Freedom." And I was like, "Okay, that thing is huge. Like, what professor will ask you to buy something like that for class? You're probably gonna use like 2 or 3 pages out of it." And when she turned to the side of the book in big letters said "Help." That's all I saw. And I looked at Jairus, and I was like, "His everlasting love prevails." And, no, I said his everlasting, and he said love prevails. And we're like, well, I guess that's the name for our Bible study, and so that was it, and we ran with it.
But then the scripture, Jeremiah 31.
I don't remember how we chose that scripture.
Because we're looking for like love.
Honestly, it kind of doesn't make sense. It makes sense anyway because all of that is in the scripture. So
I don't remember how we came to that scripture, but the previous semester, all we taught about was love.
I remember that was on. I think they were on the flyers. It was on the flyer, Jeremiah 31:3.
Okay,
So
that might have been the first.
Yeah.
That might have been the first flyer then. Because our focus for
Oh,
an
got it.
entire year, we talked about nothing but love, like literally, like
John 3:16.
agape love, brotherly love, intimate love, whatever type of love that was. Like we went down the list.
Right, the different.
Every week we talked about love, and then when we got into like a little bit of deeper stuff, we started talking about sex, and of course that sparked everybody's attention. One of the previous assistant pastor at Greater Centennial, I remember one night he came, and it was a night that we were talking about sex. And he was so shocked that we were having a Bible study talking about sex, and that the room was full of students that were ready to talk about purity and keeping yourself, and how like premarital sex is not right. So, and we had a whole bunch of dudes coming to Bible study that night, and a lot of them remained even after that conversation. So yeah, that's
how it started.
That's
right?
crazy.
that room was so small.
Yeah.
And it was packed in the hallway, out into the hallway.
Our first Bible
Remember
study. Your
that?
dad came to our Bible
Oh
study.
yeah.
Oh, that must have been a different semester.
No, that was the first.
The
that
very
was
first
the
one?
very first one. I remember that. He was standing out in the hallway, and I'm just like, "Who's this older man?"
He was
Just-
looking over his daughter.
You know, my dad's protected
was making
too. He's
sure
standing there like this.
He was standing.
Sure
He
nobody
was
coming
standing
up in
just
there.
like that, and I'm just like, "Yo, this is so nerve
He was making
wracking."
sure he wasn't in no witchcraft.
Right. Yeah, that too.
Yo, that was
What is this cult going on here?
no. But how about our first Bible study? That's how I was familiar with Carlton because I grew up in Westchester.
Right.
And he was like connected to my sister somehow. But I remember seeing him walk down the hallway. I knew he was coming to our Bible study because he had this big black Bible with the gold pages. And I looked at him like,
Yeah.
where are you going? He had the gold pages, but I think Robert Flemeister had silver
Oh.
pages. He had a black Bible with
yes.
silver. I'm like, yo, y'all are definitely from church. I don't even have a Bible like this.
Nope.
But yeah, our beginning was very interesting.
2000.
10 of the fall semester.
Jesus.
Jesus, that's a long time. That makes me feel old.
Makes me feel old.
Yes. You're older than y'all.
Oh, man.